Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to do a bit of a different video today. As you can tell by the caption, it is going to be about why you may not be seeing progress with your fat loss goals. And I think this is a very good time to be posting a video like this because we are just over a month into 2022 and a lot of people set goals for themselves for New Year's. It may be helpful for a lot of people right now or a lot of people down the road too. So make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm planning on having a video coming out every week or every other week, kind of just depending on my schedule and what kind of content I can come up with. If you have any other ideas or videos you want to see from me, definitely leave them in the comment section. It is actually very helpful. So just to start this out, I'm gonna drop some of my progress from the past so you guys can kind of just see like where I started and where I'm at now. It has been a wild ride. Honestly, I wouldn't change any of it for the world. I think that I learned so much along the way. Everything I've done up till now has gotten me to where I am right now, and I couldn't be happier. So hopefully some of the stuff that I've learned along the way can help you with your fitness journey and get to your goals. So let's just get started. Okay, let's just start out by saying no matter what diet you're doing, if you're not in a calorie deficit, you will not lose body fat. I just want to preface that because there may be a lot of questions about just like certain foods or certain diets. And when it really comes down to it, you need to be in a calorie deficit. That is the only way any diet works, like keto, paleo, the carnivore diet, any fad diet, or an intermittent fasting. Any of these diets or things, they only work because you are in a calorie deficit. If you're not going to lose any weight. So I just wanted to say that to start out. I personally like to track my calorie intake, get within a range of calories, and still enjoy all of the foods I love on a daily basis, while also including more whole food options, more healthy filling options that I enjoy, more protein and more fiber. I would much rather be able to enjoy all the foods I love and just be more mindful of my calorie intake rather than demonize certain food groups or cut out a certain macronutrient completely. In my opinion, that is not the healthiest thing to do, especially when it comes down to your relationship with food. You may think that you're in a calorie deficit and you're not losing weight, but the thing is, you can't gain weight in a calorie deficit. If you are gaining weight or gaining body fat, like your measurements are going up, your progress pictures are not improving in the way you would like them to, you're not in a calorie deficit. So some things to keep in mind: if you're not tracking on a daily basis and tracking everything you're eating, it is gonna be really, really hard to figure out how many calories you're actually consuming. I would much rather see somebody track 7 days a week, even if you're gonna go over your calories a day or two here or there or on the weekend, because then you can analyze how many calories you're actually eating rather than just saying, oh, screw it, I'm not going to track on Saturday and Sunday because I'm going to go way over my calories anyways. It is much better to just track and then see where you're at and go from there. So if you find that you are someone who just blows past your calories on the weekend, that could be because you are under eating during the week. Your overall calorie goal is just set way too low. Do keep in mind, it is much better to eat a realistic, healthy amount of calories 7 days of the week rather than trying to eat in a humongous calorie deficit and ending up overeating, binging, whatever on the weekends because you're just hungry, your cravings are out of control, and you are in that fuck it mindset. Don't let weekends ruin your progress. I would highly recommend just having a healthier calorie goal throughout the week, or if you want to calorie cycle, that could be a really helpful tool as well. But also keep in mind, it's not great to purposely undereat during the week so you can indulge in more unhealthy foods or alcohol on the weekend, and your progress will reflect that. Do not change your calorie intake every day based off of what your Fitwatch tells you you're burning, because it is so inaccurate. It really is. And you should just be trying to aim for around the same amount of calories on a daily basis. Make it healthy, make it sustainable. Don't be eating 1,200 calories a day. That's not healthy or realistic. That is what toddlers eat. So if you've never counted your calories before, I want to touch more on this as well, because a lot of people who don't count calories don't realize how many calories are in healthier foods. Just because something is healthy doesn't mean that the calories don't matter. So things like granola, and I just want to say really quickly that I'm not saying you can't enjoy these foods still. I still eat granola. I still eat high calorie foods. I'm just eating them more in moderation rather than looking at them as healthy. Oh, I can eat as much as I want of them. So that's just something to keep in mind with foods like granola, avocado, healthier oils. They still have a lot of calories in them. Like salad dressings that may be higher in calories. You can actually get salads at like McDonald's that are higher in calories than anything else on the menu. So it's just something to focus on instead of trying to eat super, super clean or cut out, all processed foods. You can still enjoy those foods in moderation. And when it comes down to healthy foods, calories still matter. So moderation is important. Read nutrition labels. Portion control is huge. And just because something's healthy doesn't mean that its calories don't matter at all. If you're consuming a lot of liquid calories, this could be one reason that you're not losing weight. And again, this is not me saying do not go to Starbucks, do not have like a margarita with your friends, do not have whatever to drink, but opting for those lower calorie options or calorie-free options like Diet Coke instead of a normal Coke will help you a lot. Empty calories, it's not a technical term, but empty calories are basically things that are high calorie and don't provide much nutritional value, aren't very filling. So getting like a big like Frappuccino at Starbucks, that shit can be like 1,200 calories. If you're getting a big one, you're getting the whipped cream and everything. So just being more aware of that sort of thing, trying to find lower calorie options for things that you like, that you can still enjoy, will help you so much. Or just moderation, right? We already talked about moderation, really important. Focusing on carbs instead of calories. This is a big one. A lot of people, and I'm not shaming or judging at all, but if you're just focused on carbs instead of calories, carbs aren't what make you gain weight, gain body fat. Overall, calories are, and they can be calories from protein, fats, and carbs. So instead of counting your carbs, focus on counting your calories. And don't demonize carbs just because we are told that carbs make you fat or women shouldn't be eating carbs or whatever. It's very, very untrue, and carbs really aren't the problem. Fats aren't the problem. Protein isn't the problem. Just overall, too many calories is what leads to fat gain on a consistent basis. Protein is looked at by women especially as something that they should stay away from, or something that is going to make them bulky or not be able to lose weight or whatever. And I understand, because I used to think that why would I use protein powder, or why would I be implementing, higher protein options in my diet if I'm not wanting to like gain muscle. I just want to lose fat. But really, protein as a whole, not just protein powder, but protein powder is a fantastic thing to add into. Protein as a whole is so important. It is filling. The TEF of protein is much higher than fats and carbs. So you burn more calories digesting protein, and making sure you're getting amino acids in your diet through, the essential amino acids in your diet through protein is important too. If you want to get toned or lean, you need muscle. This idea that you should not focus on gaining muscle, not focus on protein until you have lost the weight, no, not a good idea. You want to maintain as much muscle mass or build some muscle mass along the way if you can, and focus on protein, even in a fat loss phase. My protein intake really doesn't change very much whether I'm trying to build muscle or when I'm trying to lose fat. I still hit that protein goal on a daily basis, even on my rest days, yes. So just remember that you don't just get bulky overnight. Protein powder doesn't just magically make you gain weight or gain muscle. People who get bulky or big train for years to get to that point, and you're not just gonna wake up one day and be like, holy shit, why are my shoulders fucking pumpkins? You know? People train really, really, really hard to gain that much muscle, and they're eating like a lot of food. So do not be scared of protein. Do not be scared of protein powder. Highly, highly recommend. Please, I wish that I knew this at the beginning of my fitness journey, that I should be prioritizing protein in my diet. So another reason you may not be making progress with your fat loss goal is because you have been dieting for so long that the calories that you used to be able to consume for a calorie deficit are now your maintenance calories. In this instance, I would just highly recommend taking a step back and saying, do I want to drop my calories lower than where they are right now? Will I be comfortable? Is that healthy? Is that realistic? Is it sustainable? Can I increase my calorie output? Like if you're already doing so much cardio or your steps are already so high on a daily basis, I would recommend that instead of increasing your calorie output and decreasing your calorie input, take a break from dieting. Diet breaks are so important. Will help your metabolism a lot. And eventually you will be able to continue working towards a fat loss goal. But right now, doing a reverse diet may be something that is extremely beneficial for you, because you can't just keep eating less and keep doing more, because you will burn out, and it's really hard on yourself. So definitely keep that in mind, and don't be scared to do a reverse. Beating yourself up for going over your calories really gets you nowhere, and trying to compensate for those calories that you did eat, it's not healthy to be doing that. So one tip I have is, if you overindulge, move on, forgive yourself. Really, fitness journeys come with a lot of forgiveness, like self-forgiveness, and it's something really important to remember. Going over your calories does not mean you're a failure. You did not ruin all of your progress. This is a lifestyle, right guys? Remember, it is a lifestyle. This isn't some quick fix or some short-term thing. You want to keep the weight off, finding ways to still enjoy the foods that you love while finding healthier, more filling, more low-calorie options here or there too will help you so much down the line. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with still including your favorite foods in your diet. I highly recommend it. Another reason you may not be seeing progress with your fat loss goal is you're just not being consistent enough. Tracking your overall consistency can help a lot, and this is something that helped me a ton, because I used to feel really guilty taking an extra day off, or having to miss a gym session, or going over my calories, for example. But when you're looking at consistency on a monthly basis, if there's say 31 days in the month and you have 6 or 7 off days, you're still 80% consistent towards your goals. And that is a great starting point. If you're not being consistent with the things that you need to do to get you towards your goals, you shouldn't be trying to drop your calories lower. You shouldn't be trying to increase your calorie output. You should really just be focusing on doing what you can with what you have and being consistent with those things before saying, oh, this isn't working. Because maybe if you were more consistent, it would be working. And that's just something that I had to learn the hard way. So that comes down to just being, consistent with your tracking. If you are tracking your calories, if you're not being accurate, if you're not tracking everything, if you're not tracking on weekends, that will all add up. And it's just something to keep in mind. If you do want to track, you should be trying to track accurately. I'm not saying be extremely meticulous, like tracking every piece of tomato or piece of spinach or onion, or feeling guilty for not being able to track like a meal out in a restaurant or eating at your parents' place or whatever. But overall, consistency is important, and it's not about being perfect. It's about making progress and just trying to be consistent. So don't beat yourself up over having to, miss a few days here or there, or not being able to track something perfectly, because perfection is something that we shouldn't be striving for anyways. It's just really important to be consistent and to accurately track. Maybe you are making progress, but you're not weighing yourself enough to actually see that progress on the scale. When you are looking at one weigh-in a week and then comparing that weigh-in weekly, so weighing in 4 times a month, you could realistically be weighing in consecutively on heavier days. And in the end, you would say, oh, I didn't lose any weight this month. But that may not be true. The more data you can collect through weighing in, the better. If you don't want to use the scale, don't use the scale. That is totally fine. But something that has actually helped my relationship with the scale a ton is weighing in every day, about the same time, after I use the bathroom and before I consume anything, even like a glass of water. This has helped my relationship with the scale because I can see that the scale is going to fluctuate no matter what. You could do everything perfectly the day before and be heavier on the scale the next day. So not letting the scale control how you look at yourself, how you act throughout the day, your emotions, is really, really important. So I would say if you can weigh in multiple times a week, it is much better than just weighing in once a week, because being able to look at trends, I'll put in a picture here of when I was doing my cutting phase, my fat loss phase. You can see where the scale jumped up and then went down and then jumped up and went down. But overall, on a trend, it is trending downwards, but it's trending downwards slowly, and there still are spikes. So stop quitting every time the scale spikes up, because you have zero control over that. You could have not pooped and the scale will go up. You could have had a heavier meal the day before and the scale will go up. You could be closer to your period and the scale will go up. You could have had a shitty sleep and the scale will go up. There's a million different reasons that aren't related to fat gain. So just stay consistent and don't be so hard on yourself. And then going into, we just talked about the scale, but also reminding yourself that the scale isn't always going to tell you the whole story, and using other forms of tracking your progress will help you out a ton. So during my fitness journey, something that I focused a lot on was progress pictures, because especially if you're weight training, which I highly recommend, you could be losing body fat and gaining muscle. Total body recomp, where the scale isn't going to change a whole lot, but your body composition will. And you'll be able to see that through progress pictures, through measurements. And honestly, it will be hard to see in the mirror, because every day you look at yourself in the mirror. So I would highly recommend taking progress pictures like every 2 weeks, once a month, something like that. Ask yourself, if you were a couple pounds lighter on the scale, is it really that big of a difference? If you looked virtually the exact same as you do right now, are those last 3, 4, 5 pounds really going to make you happier? Because really, when it comes down to it, those last few pounds are the hardest to lose. At the start of our fat loss phase, our calories are much, much higher. Our energy output is much, much higher. And once you start losing fat and dropping your calories, your body does start to adapt to that. So once you get down really close to your goal weight and you're only a few pounds off, those will be the hardest to lose. And I'm not saying you shouldn't work towards that goal. I'm just saying, is it really worth that much energy and that much work and whatever? Because it's just a few pounds. And I know that might mean a lot to somebody, but focusing on other things outside of just what the scale says, I promise you'll feel a lot better. Because just because you're a certain number on the scale, it's not going to just miraculously solve all of your problems or make you feel so much better about yourself. I used to be dead set on being 145 pounds because that's what I weighed in high school. And that's just what I was comfortable at. I'm now 12 pounds heavier than that, and I once was 50 pounds heavier than that, and I am very comfortable where I am right now. I was very comfortable where I was a year and a half ago when I was, 170 pounds, or 2 years ago, whatever, working on just becoming the best, healthiest, happiest version of yourself isn't always going to translate to the scale. So if you can't tear that emotional feeling of having to be a certain weight, I would say maybe stop using the scale and start focusing on non-scale victories instead. Maybe your goal is really, really unrealistic and you're setting yourself up for failure. If you're trying to lose all of the weight in 2 or 3 months, just know that it's not realistic. It's probably not going to happen, especially if you have a lot to lose. About half a pound to 2 pounds on average weekly is phenomenal weight loss, and it's sustainable, because having to be in a bigger deficit than that to lose more weekly, it's not sustainable for most people unless you have a lot to lose. Then maybe you will see a little bit more of a higher rate of weight loss, but keep your expectations realistic and set goals based on things that you have control over instead of things that you don't have control over, like your weight on the scale. Trying to say, I want to be 190 pounds by February 15th. It's not realistic and you don't have control over it. So focus on things you can control, your consistency, and making sure that you're being really just kind to yourself, because weight loss is easy. Like, the logic of it is very easy to understand. You need to be in a calorie deficit, but it's the mental aspect of it that is very, very difficult. So, make sure to focus on your mental health and make sure you're in a good place to be in a fat loss phase, because stress is really important. You need to manage stress before just jumping into a fat loss phase. And I know that can be really hard for a lot of people to hear, but it's the truth. Lastly, and I think this is honestly the most important part of this video, is maybe you are making progress and you're just being way, way, way too hard on yourself and thinking that you should be making progress a whole lot faster. This is a perfect time to remind you guys that slow progress is still progress, and slow progress is sustainable progress. Don't compare your amount of fat loss to anybody else's. This is one reason I don't like fat loss challenges, where the person who loses the most wins, because a lot of people have, more to lose. And it's not a competition. It really isn't a competition. You shouldn't be comparing yourself or your journey to anybody else's but your own. You're only in competition with yourself. So it's really important to remember that no, you probably won't lose 10 pounds a month or 20 pounds a month. Maybe if you have a lot to lose in your first month, you may see a large amount of weight loss like that. But going forward, you're not going to be able to sustain that monthly. A great rate of fat loss really is half a pound to 2 pounds a week on average. And by on average, I mean your first week, you could lose 3 pounds. Your second week, you could lose nothing. Your third week, you could lose 1 pound, and your fourth week, you could lose nothing. That's still 4 pounds in a month. That is awesome. It really, really, really is. So don't be so hard on yourself, and remember that small progress really, really adds up to so much incredible progress. I would much rather, which I do, see progress slower and be able to eat more food, not have to do tons of cardio, and just live a little and still make progress, rather than having to just do all of these unsustainable things that I don't like cutting out food groups, eating really, really low calorie, and doing a ton of exercise. That's not sustainable anyways. The faster you lose it, the quicker you gain it back. Trust me, I've been there. I have lost weight and I have gained back double. It is very, very frustrating, and that's just what happens when you do fad diets or you do just unsustainable things to lose weight, because if you can't sustain the diet or the amount of exercise that you're doing, how are you going to sustain the results from it? You can't just go back to what you were doing before that got you to this point of, I want to lose weight, I want to lose body fat, whatever. You can't just go back to that lifestyle. That's why implementing these small healthy habits, slowly, enjoyable progress. I said that wrong. But really, I'm being so honest with you guys here. It's the best way to go. Being in around a 500 calorie deficit daily will be about a pound a week. So yeah. So I'm going to do a little plug of my fitness guide here because it is incredible. It is so helpful, and it's helped so many people already within this first month of me releasing it. If you want to learn more about calories, macros, tracking, or how to make progress without tracking, being consistent, having a great routine, learning about training, progressive overload, how to get toned, how to lose body fat, how to reverse diet, all of these different things, it's all in there. There's so much great information. I'm really, really proud of this guide, and I know how helpful and fantastic it is. I will leave, obviously, a link in the description box because I'm really proud of it, and I'm very happy to share it with you guys. So I hope you guys like this video, and if you have any other questions, please leave a comment or head over to my Instagram or my TikTok. I am doing a lot of content over there too. I always do Q&A boxes on my Instagram story, or send me a DM with any questions, and check out the guide. You will be so thankful that you did. Okay, I'll see you guys in my next video.